This is what I understand of the path of the we. As we travel on our spiritual journey, it's we talk about ourselves as having this close relationship with our Creator, okay? And how it is a constant journey between ourselves and the guidance of our beloved. But when we come together as brothers and sisters in a spiritual community, we have to have that consciousness of all of us being equal. That there is no one that is higher than the other, or no one lower than the other, that we are all at the same, vibrating at the same speed. And that's how I understand the we. And so when I've heard the teachings of the we, that's how I interpret it. Okay, that there is no separation, that we're all equal and we're all learning together. And I found that to be so beautiful because in many ways of teaching, there's always the separation. There's always the separation of the teacher. There's also the separation of the teacher's assistant. I don't have an assistant. And I never say that I teach. I don't. I always say to people, let me tell you how I did it. And what I did was through that connection. It's the prayer and the patience. You have to, you wait. You wait to be guided. And that's your teacher, Many times I waited many, many years, many decades. I waited many decades for Don Alejandro to come. And I did have a wish list, and I was very specific of who I wanted to learn with. And I wanted to hear my ancestors' native language. I wanted to hear the prayer. I wanted to see the ceremonies. So I was very specific. And that was in my prayers for many decades. And at the same time, as humans, we feel that, we're looking for something in particular. And in the search, we find out that in reality, it has always been like it was in the beginning. Just you and the Creator, you and the Holy Ones. You and the cosmos, you and the great mystery, you and the grandmothers of the four directions, and that's how it is. There's that constant communion of the we, us, and the holy ones, or us and our spiritual brothers and sisters. But that's how I understand, the teachings of the we. And I thought, how beautiful that is, because that's exactly what I've been telling people for decades. Yeah. I have people, coming to me and saying, I want to spend a week with you. It takes a long time to be with somebody, because when you are with someone, the way that I learned is by watching and by listening. Of course, I ask a lot of questions because it's my nature, but I spend a lot of time just watching. And I think that's really, really important, that we do that. If we want to learn something from someone, we watch, what are they doing? How do they say that? If a situation comes up, how do they resolve it? How do they react? And why is there any reaction, or why is there a reaction? you know, because we're human beings, constantly. And what we think a person is, it's not. Because we have a concept of what we think that person is. And a person can act and say things in public in one way, and the same person can act and say things differently in their own personal family surroundings. So, you might be falling out of grace if somebody comes and see you privately in your home, You might not be that, ideal person that you think that person is. Or we just have misconceptions, as humans. Yeah. So we have to be open to that. I think that is one of the biggest things that I've learned in life, is not to accept secondhand information, but find out for myself the information of what I feel I want to know. If I don't want to know about it, then it doesn't matter. What is it that's important to me? Yeah. So what's here about the seeds is that the seeds, come with their undivided information, their genetic information, and the one cannot be something else. We can't assume, and say, oh, this is something else. Yeah. And we could look at it and say, no, I don't think it's this. But it has its information embedded in it. And so it's not going to change. It's there. And not only it's there, but it's there for millennia, as long as we take care of it and keep it intact in its intact form. So that's the journey here, is to be able to keep these seeds intact